Hi, I'm Ed Burns, and welcome to my talk at JDConf 2025. I'm very happy you're here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the great content that we have lined up for you at JDConf 2025. A little bit about me. I've been doing software development for over 30 years now. Had the good fortune to start out at University of Illinois and work my way from the client to the server to the cloud, and now I'm working on the AI uh, era. This talk is about Jakarta EE infused AI app innovation. And this very busy slide, I'm only going to show it briefly here, but it's intended to show the very broad and deep impact that Jakarta EE has in the current Java space. We have basically three boxes that I'm showing up here on the top. The Java products and specifications, that's the name of the whole chart, but we have older cloud native technologies such as Spring Boot and Micronaut, newer cloud native technologies such as Quarkus, Helidon, WebSphere Liberty, and JBoss EAP, and really not cloud native technologies such as WebLogic Server and WebSphere Traditional. And all of these depend on a large number of specifications, most of them in Jakarta EE, but some of them in microprofile. And I'll be talking about that today. Here's my plan for your time investment. First, don't panic. I'll explain what I mean by that. Then I'll introduce LangChain4j microprofile Jakarta. There's another session that's available on demand from JDConf 2025 from my colleague Emmanuel Hugonet. I recommend you check that out. He has written a lot of the code that is going to be showing here, and he's amazingly active on this project. Then I'll be showing the demo that I'm doing and also doing it, and a brief bit on how to deploy it. We won't deploy it all the way because it's actually rather trivial thanks to the work that my team has done at Microsoft for deploying Liberty on Azure Kubernetes service. First, if you're new to AI, my advice to you is don't panic, just like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy said. Some fairly obvious observations here. I want you to know that market forces for technology adoption have always been in play. Vendors want this adoption, and they'll make it as easy as possible for you to adopt. And this is also true for AI. All the sessions you're going to be seeing here at JDConf are about how you can take advantage of the AI capabilities in this AI era and how they're easy to access and use. This is a little plug from a book I wrote a long time ago about secrets of the rockstar programmers. And this gentleman here is James Gosling, the inventor of Java, widely credited as such. And the lesson I'm using to share this here is how do we get a new idea adopted? And in this case, the new idea is agentic AI, not agentic, generative AI. Agentic is coming. Well, the idea is to package the old idea in the guise and clothes of the existing idea. So for AI in Java, what that means is exposing APIs that you're already familiar with. And that's what this LangChain4j project does. And that's what this new project, LangChain4j microprofile Jakarta, does also. And it does it in a way that is quite transparent because there's enough existing API knowledge in the Jakarta specifications that I showed you earlier that you can just take them off the shelf and use them with AI with this little bit of layer that we're putting in to make it easier. So introducing the LangChain4j microprofile Jakarta project. This is an ease of use layer on top of LangChain4j. There's been plenty of content about this. Lee's Ray's session at JDConf 2024 is a great place to start if you haven't already. These are the links to the project, and it was only just created a couple weeks ago, and it might even get renamed depending on outcomes of current discussions between microprofile and Jakarta. In any case, the code is being incubated here in the SmallRye LLM project, which I believe Emmanuel mentions in his talk. Here is the brief value proposition for LangChain4j microprofile Jakarta. The idea is to bring the value of open standards to the rapidly evolving world of AI. And we're going to do this by AI enabling everything in Jakarta EE with all the power that's in LangChain4j. If you want to use Jakarta validation or Jakarta transactions or persistence, or even new Jakarta data, all of those things can now be accessed with the power of LangChain4j using its own APIs, for example, such as the Tools API, and even newer ones that are in the LangChain4j Jakarta microprofile project, such as the Register AI Service one and the injection capabilities. I'll be talking about that shortly. The important point I want to bring out here is this one in the middle, without introducing any new AI standards. We firmly believe in the standards world that standards are great, but standards that happen too soon are very bad. And AI is evolving so rapidly, we think the better approach is to AI enable existing technologies rather than defining new standards, because the space is evolving so quickly. And if you standardize something prematurely, you're probably going to get it wrong. It's better to standardize something that's existing and stable. Now, this project builds on Jakarta Context and Dependency Injection, the object model of Jakarta. It also uses microprofile config, fault tolerance, and telemetry. And it is delivered to you, the user, as a build-compatible CDI extension. CDI extensions are a way to extend the capabilities of a Jakarta EE runtime. It does define one new API currently, perhaps there'll be more. So in the sense of being a specification, yeah, maybe in the sense of it's an annotation, and it allows the generation of injectable proxy implementation using LangChain4j and CDI. And I'll have a code example for that. Now, these are features built on existing APIs. For one thing, it makes all of those LangChain4j features injectable. Making something injectable is how you access it in a Jakarta runtime environment. You would say @inject, and you get access to your API that way. It also leverages microprofile config for doing the environment variable substitution, which are very important for your OpenAPI keys and endpoints and deployment names, for example. It also smooths over any AI service call hiccups that might happen with microprofile fault tolerance, so you can specify a fallback method, as I will show you. Also, it exposes the telemetry of your AI app using the open telemetry and microprofile telemetry, but these particular semantic conventions for spans, for generative AI spans and generative AI metrics. Well, let's go into the demo. I'm going to be showing the Jakarta EE Small Rye Liberty car booking app, and also deploying with Liberty AKS in a stub fashion, not deploying the whole thing. All right. Now we have our project Liberty Car Booking opened up in Visual Studio Code with the Java language support and the GitHub Copilot extension already installed. And one excellent side effect of using generative AI in the developer domain is it's really easy to ask and learn about the code base that you've just opened. So many of the questions I've asked and gotten answers from the AI are in my chat backlog here. Just going to show you really quickly for how to get things started. Now, the first thing that happens when the application starts up, you have an application scoped CDI bean here called the doc rag ingester and it produces the embedding model. This is a part of LangChain4j that is for doing retrieval augmented generation. It also produces the embedding store, which is used by that. And so here we're injecting the microprofile config property, docs for ragdir. And so let's just see what's in there. Let's look at the microprofile config file. Source main resources, meta-inf microprofile config. And here it is. So there's a directory called docs for rag. And I've already in there. Here we are in docs for rag. And this is the text files that are going to be tokenized and ingested and vector databaseized and made available. So the one that's most useful is terms of use for this domain. Here we are. And this is the terms of use for this car rental service. And this was the same demo that Lee's gave last year. It's actually based on It was originally authored by Dmytro Lubarsky and Lise Reyes. So that's the car booking Miles of Smiles demo. So these are the terms of use that are ingested, and they are ingested at startup time with this application scoped managed bean. So there is, it observes the @initialized event. That's a CDI way of saying, call this thing when the app initializes. And here it's just doing your regular LangChain4j calls to do the ingestion. And then it's going to make those things available as mentioning here. It's a CDI producer for the embedding model and the embedding store. All right. Another thing I wanted to show was the two AI services. So here is the chat AI service, and it is using this SmallRye LLM register AI service. Now the package name and even the class name might change before the thing is all said and done, but the concept of having an annotation you could put on your interface, and it will list what kind of tools. This is where the agentic comes in. LangChain4j has a facility that lets you tell the AI, here are some methods you can call to do specific things when the prompt matches a certain pattern. So I'll talk about what that is. And in order for this chat to work, all the chats have to have a memory. So this is giving the memory name, and that is going to generate all of that implementation for you dynamically. Now you can provide a system message here. So you're a customer support agent and you must check these things, blah, blah. And of course it does interpolation of current date. So you can use a regular string interpolation here. Here we're specifying a timeout. This is where the microprofile fault tolerance happens. You can also specify a retry method and a fallback method. So fallback method is chat fallback, and this is if the AI is not able to answer your question at this moment. Maybe you've run out of tokens because you're using a free tier or something. I'm not able to answer your request at this moment. Please try again later. So it will fail gracefully, and that's the whole point of microprofile fault tolerance. So that's the chat AI service. And note that there's no implementation. It's going to be generating all of that for you. Let's also look at the other endpoint, which is the fraud register AI service. Similar concept with the system message and the user message. And the two things will be here, fraud callback or fallback. That's the same kind of idea. And the response is detect fraud for customer by name with first and last name. So these are the AI endpoints. Now let's look at the REST service. This is the booking service. And here, you'll be seeing it building a really in-memory, lightweight database here of just the bookings and such, simulate the database access. And okay, so here's where we get the tool interaction. So if the AI determines that there's a prompt that looks similar to this, then it will call this method. Or if the AI determines that there's a method that looks similar to this, it will call this method. And the value of all of using LangChain4j, especially with Jakarta EE, is that when you get called back, all of those Jakarta EE facilities are available to you. Okay, so and here's another one where you can cancel the booking. And I want to now see where the microprofile, where the chat AI service is being referenced. Okay. So it's collecting the workspace information, and it's going to go through all of these things. And while it's going, I'm going to pull up another class to show you what is happening here. So let's see what else to show. Booking service, static initialization. Let's look at car booking resource 2. It timed out. So let's look at car booking resource. Okay, yes, this is the REST endpoint. There it is. I've answered my own question. Unfortunately, the AI timed out. Perhaps it was network problems. But here, we're just injecting the two things, and we're able to interact with them directly. So it's passing chat with the query param question, And it's just saying, give me an answer, do the chat, and if there's an exception, print the stack trace. And the same thing is true for fraud. So those are two basic things. So let's show what it looks like running. The endpoint is there for me. It's just a REST endpoint. So first I'll interact with the booking chat here. I'll reload this. Okay, clear and execute. Okay, here's my. Okay, yes, my name is Jace Bond. Please list my bookings. So here they are. These are the ones you can see from the simple database there. And I can ask it, tell me details about booking 345-678. Let's ask that. What are the details of booking 345-678? Execute. Okay, here are the details for booking 345-678. Okay, and start date is in the future a little bit, and end date is a little bit more in the future. So it's active, not canceled. So let's see if we can cancel it here. Cancel booking 345-678. Period. All right. Your booking has been successfully canceled. So it did call through to the cancel booking method and pass the number that I asked it to pass. And now if we say show my bookings, again, you should not see 345-678. Okay, so it does show 345-678, but it shows it as canceled. So that is pretty great. And let's try to cancel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it will run into the policy. So cancel booking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Execute. Okay, and so you could see I've got one happening starting on about a week from now, one that I just canceled, and one that's still active. So let's see if it's going to invoke that tools API there. I am James Bond. Please cancel booking. And what is the number? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Execute. Okay, the cancellation of block cannot be processed because it's too close to the start date, which does not comply with our cancellation policy. So it's trying to use the tool to do the cancellation, and it's finding that it can't do so. So let's go back to the code and just take a look again at how these tools are being invoked, and that's from the booking service. So the booking service is able to understand that when a prompt that looks like this happens, it's to invoke the cancel booking method, and if a prompt that looks like this happens, get the bookings, it's supposed to call this method. Okay. Let's look at the other endpoint here, the fraud AI service. So it's the car booking resource, and it also has an endpoint called fraud. And this one's much simpler. It just takes a name and value, and it asks to detect fraud for customers. So let's see what the implementation of that is. This is the fraud AI service. So it's just going to be an auto-generated implementation there. So let's go over to the fraud endpoint down here and expand it and put in the two properties, name, value, try it out. Okay, name is James Bond, and I'll click execute. And no fraud detected, that's right. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of our time here together today. So let me go back and get our summary. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot to go and try the deployment step. So as I mentioned, I was going to stub this out because it is very simple to deploy it. What you need to do is use the demo app, build it as a Liberty app, and you can package it as a Docker container, and then go here to the Azure portal and search for Liberty, and press enter. And you should see WebSphere Liberty on Kubernetes, WebSphere Liberty / Open Liberty on Kubernetes. Click that, and here we go. Let's create it. So what you would do is just package that up in the Liberty app in a Docker container. It's very simple to do. And then you can go here and select create. And I'll put in a new resource group. Liberty. Okay. And I'm going to accept the defaults for everything else. Deploy it on AKS. Yes, create a new cluster. Yes, put it behind an application gateway. Yes, deploy an application. And what you can do here is either deploy your own application image or the Liberty sample app. So the way you would do it is pre-push the image to an Azure container registry and then specify the Docker pull string of that Azure container registry there. And when you set up AKS, you can say no to the create an Azure container registry and then point to your existing registry right there that you've pre-created. And once you've pushed that image to the registry, Liberty will be created and started up and set up behind the app gateway, and everything should be accessible, just like I showed you over on this Swagger tab here. All right, now I'm prepared to go back to the slides. And so here's the summary. We believe that it's too early in the current AI era to introduce Jakarta EE standard for AI. That's why let's just make sure that our current existing feature set works well with the current AI, and our new project LangChain for JM Microprofile Jakarta delivers on that feature set. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your JD Conf.